eternal Father. You children of the earth, promised before knowing a human life to fulfill in your simplicity feeling the highest morality that can be conceived, and to attend to your request, the Divine Father placed the Ten Commandments in human life. They represent and remind you on earth of the morality promised in the kingdom of heaven. You might be deceived by the fleeting and comfort that money provides, thinking you had never studied my scriptures that could happen by failing to comply with the commandments in your daily life cannot be overlooked. Only the arrogant will come to know the power of God, which is first expressed through the living doctrines and then in nature. Every new law must be first thought and then executed. To do the positive will bring chaos to the world, as everyone will be deluded and many will take their own lives believing that the end of the world has come. No, children, there is not a such thing. What exists is the final judgment on a way life that is not in kingdom of heaven, that is not in my commandments, and I will be approved the human evolution. The commandments were given for everyone. They are the only ones that can unify the world. My divine commandments do not divide the world. Only the divine commandments could and still save the world from the weeping incarnation of sin that is approaching. First commandment: you should love your God and Creator above all the things, and your neighbors as yourself. Second commandment: you should not worship on any image, temple, or likenesses of any kind. Third commandment: you should not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not behold him in guiltless who takes his name in vain. Fourth commandment: remember the Sabbath day and keep them holy. 6 days you should labor and do all your work, but the 7 days is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Fifth commandment: honor your father and your mother, so that your days might be prolonged in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Sixth commandment: you shall not kill. Seventh commandment: you shall not fornicate, you shall not commit adultery. Eighth commandment: you shall not steal. Ninth commandment: you shall not bear false witnesses against your neighbor, no lies. 10th commandment: you should not covet your neighbor's gods. Based on the Holy Scriptures, Exodus chapter 20, Deuteronomy chapter 5. The demanding days of the Creator bear the self of equality to degree unknown to you. This equality is represented in the 10 Commandments. Where did you get the word private? Nothing is private in the nature. The divine root gives and takes away, meaning that every divine commandments have been observing the actions of every human, him bring through the centuries. They are living words of God, who is everywhere in the highest morality that the human mind can imagine. Such morality is represented in my commandments. There is no other knowledge in this world that surpasses them. My divine commandment teach equality. Inequality that is respected will have made the earth paradise. The Creator is infinite and it represents in all the things. Yet His commandments are the supreme because they emerge from His free will. The divine morality of my divine commandments was created so that universal communist government could arise on earth, one single government and one single God. Is there any other doctrine more humble than the which they share material things in common? The hour has come when all the power that is not on the eternal Father will fall by his first own law. With the measurement they used, they will measure. The measure is the commandment, and by the commandments they will fall. Right, Alpha and Omega. Lord, you blew the winds, and the sea is your child. Who is like you, O Lord? From the eternal to the eternity, you are the voice of God. Genesis 1:1-2 Holy Greetings. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without order and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved over the face of the waters. Job 38:4 Where were you when I was laying in the foundations of the earth? Talk to me if you have intelligence. Psalms 104:5 He established the earth on his foundation, so they will never waver. One will come. Divine Title 3097. In the trials of life, many saw what they were making others suffer, and they said nothing. They did not give an account to the human love. This is the strange insensibility, for the suffering of others is paid by seconds and by molecules in the divine judgments of God. And it's more likely for you to find love in the sons of God, one who gave love and protection to another in the trials of life, for you to find love in one that you gave to no one. Telepathic Scrolls. Divine Title. How Planet is Born, dictated by telepathic reading by the Divine Father Jehovah. I will dictate to you, son, how planet is born. As you seen in your mind, the birth of the planets occurs in the suns. This is how I see it through your divine grace, Father Jehovah. I see that the suns have a life. That's right, son. This is why my divine gospel teaches that what it's above is equal to what's below. That is to say, there is a life on a planet, you are on a life in the suns, which are above. What else do you see, son? I see that the solar mothers surround themselves with multitudes of cherubs. They are suns, multitudes coming from countless micro-galaxies. Divine Father Jehovah, what are the cherubs and the macro? The macrocosm is the kingdom of heaven, which my divine gospel speak on earth. The macro has no limits, neither its planets nor its creatures have a limit. There, everyone is giants. I will show it to you in a television solar. Oh, what immense creatures! Pierces the clouds and it plays with them. And if he's playing with the cotton, but what do I see? There's a shrink. That's right, son. I will tell you that in the macrocosm called Kingdom of Heaven, its celestial creatures comply with the laws of the human beings do not. Because on your planet Earth, human beings were placed only as a test. And I want to tell you that only those who did not lose in the test of life will continue to be humans. That is, those who did not violate the divine love of God during life. Divine Father Jehovah, what will then become to those who lose in the test of light? They will be able to ask God for other forms of light, because the eternal is infinity. Since He is infinity, He offers existence unlimited in numbers, so His children might be perfect. What it was not taught in your word, that God has no limits in power? This is how Divine Father Jehovah is. Those who violate God's divine law will not have confidence in God's divine judgment, and by not having confidence in them, the Son of God will not have divine will to resurrect them. So, a Divine Father Jehovah, don't we only have one life? That's right, son. Why do you think it was written in my divine gospel? Every spirit is born again to know a new life again. Now I understand, Divine Father Jehovah, and the divine parole that it says, whoever that's not born again does not see the kingdom of God, is the same son. I'll explain this last parole to you in the following way. Imagine that spirit has lived, for example, 1 trillion existences on 1 trillion of planets. Such spirit in that number of existences knew 1 trillion concepts of God, and as the same God. What a wonderful Divine Father Jehovah! But I'm even more amazed by the divine amazing simplicity with which you explain to me the unknown causes. It is that the eternal used the simplest psychologies that the human man can imagine, and explains the most difficult, because nothing is impossible for God. Continuing with the descriptions of what you've seen, I will tell you that the divine cherubs are magnetic and living hierarchies in the expansive thinking universe of the Divine Father Jehovah. The cherub, whose name means one to become, represents the most microscopic magnetic units of the creations. The divine cherub is so microscopic that a molecule is next to it like a giant planet. Divine Father Jehovah, can we humans see the cherubs? No, son, because the cherubs fulfill solar love. Human love has to evolve infinitely more to be able to see and understand the cherub. In my divine gospel, they are mentioned, but their science is not explained. Why does Divine Father Jehovah explain himself? The reason, son, is very simple. The psychology of my divine gospel is in test of psychology. This is what the free will of the human spirit asks of God. And it happened that when the human spirit decides to learn about a way of life that they did not know, they asked to be tested in the human life, starting with the divine scriptures, and the Eternal granted them to them. Because I will tell you, son, that each sensation or virtue that each human individuality possesses was requested from God, because the Spirit did not know them. This is why my divine gospel says, every spirit is tested. As he also says, the test of light, in other words, the proof of light of the human spirit, ask God for its molecule. I see what you're amazed on. This is how Divine Father Jehovah is. This is how always happened. When the Eternal is making use of his divine free will, decides to give the light to the knowledge of to the wanted in every single planet, and it always causes astonishment in the creatures of the respective planet. The molecular things I'm talking about correspond to the divine judgment upon all things, which human creatures ask of God. Did you ask for Divine Father Jehovah? That's right, son. Since the request was molecular, the request itself is reduced to request. Sensation, molecule, speaking, which are audible which their composition is based on the sum of molecules. The human spirit did not know the molecules of which the mental requests before God are composed. The spirits wanted to experience the unknown sensation which correspond to an unknown planet. Now I understand, Divine Father Jehovah, the molecule turns in the request for life. For you, Spirit, continuing some, with the divine cherubs, I will tell you that everything that surrounds you is made up to the cherubs. Thus, we have the cherubs of the water, the cherubs of the oceans, the cherubs of the earth, the cherubs of the rocks, the cherubs of the atmosphere, the cherubs of gravity, the cherubs of density, the cherubs of light, the cherubs of the flesh, the cherubs of blood, the cherubs of idea, the cherubs of the hair, the cherubs of excrement, etc., etc., etc. The known and the unknown are composed of the cherubs. Thus, through the divine cherubs, my firstborn son acted. When he calmed the winds, he lovingly and mentally commanded the cherubs of the winds. When he transforms the water into wine, he commanded the cherubs of the liquids. When he raised Lazarus, he commanded the cherubs of the life. And when he said, I'm going to the Father, he used the cherubs of the telepathic. And when he expired on the cross and said, Father, Father, why had you abandoned me? There, in that sublime moment, there was a telepathic act. The agony of my firstborn son on the cross had an infinite meaning that humanity never imagined. The drama was inside. How fascinating, Divine Father Jehovah, Divine Eternal Father, who knows everything. Why, at the moment of the agony of your firstborn son, the earth trembled and the sun's darkness? The reason for them was due to the cherubs of the planetary departures of the Solar Father. I will explain it into you, son. From the body of my first son born, orange cords emerged in invisible dimension, whose ends were linked to the molecules of the elements of the same nature. When my firstborn son expired on the cross, he transmitted vibrations to the molecules through these solar cords, because what I'm talking to you about is not a human law. They are a solar law, because when humans die, they do not make the earth tremble. This is how Divine Father Jehovah is. In the lap of the solar firstborn son, the living molecules of the natures of the planets mourn the sudden departures of those who were in their creations and their Creator. In very remote times, what fascinating divine love, Father Jehovah. This divine love, Son, has no limits, because what is concerns God, He does not have it, and I will tell you more about it when I teach you the topic title, Origin of the Trinities of the Divine Father Jehovah. So be Divine Father Jehovah, your divine will be done into me. Continuing with the divine cherubs, I will tell you, son, that through the cherubs, the Son of God will prove to the world that matter has life. Such a demonstration will provoke on earth the greatest revolution that a man have ever known. This revolution will be so immense that no vestige will remain of the interested system of light that men gave themselves. This revolution will not be like the revolutions of the men. What belongs to men has limits and is transitory. God's revolution has no limits, because having created everything, He revolutionized everything. This difference between God and the man was announced in my divine gospel with the content of the divine proverb that is said, "By the fruit of the tree is known," because one of the characteristics of the fruit of God is that He has no limits. That of God follows a line in which events do not stop, and by not stopping, it invades everything. The lap of the cherub marks at the end of the strange and unknown system of life, which no one has to ask to God, "Divine Father Jehovah, what do you say strange and unknown?" I explain to you, son. When you ask God for life, no one asks you to live in an unjust system of life, because everyone knows in the kingdom of heaven that the eternal is infinitely just, and it is in the principle of the universal normality. Since everyone speaks of the infinite justice of God, since everyone knows His divine greatness without equal, no one asks God for unjust, unequal, unbalanced systems of light. The systems of light that men choose to be tests of light is not from my divine kingdom. Not even the so-called rich asked God for it. And since no one had asked me for an unjust system of light, is an experience in the divine gospel that I said, "It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter in kingdom of heaven. Neither the rich nor the system that produced the rich enter in my divine kingdom. And I will tell you, son, that the eternal has nothing against riches, as long as they are enjoyed in equalitarian love, because the equality is from God. The unequal is not of God. Everyone is equal in the rights before God. The world did not pay attention to my divine sentence regarding the system of light. By not doing so, you must face what is coming. Now, I understand, Divine Father Jehovah, the term is strange and unknown. And I tell you, son, that everything that is not written in the kingdom of God is called range of the kingdom. Everything unjust that the human mind can imagine is range into the kingdom. As you see, son, what it's about God does not contain a single molecule of interest, and any creature that in the distant planets or trials insists or ignoring the divine sentences of God, such creatures do not enter in the kingdom of heaven, because such is a denial was not made to God. The Eternal fulfills what He asks of Him in molecular form. I will show you, son, in the solar television how the planets are born, but before you see it, I will tell you that the beginning of the birth of every planet had been announced in my divine gospel, the divine proverb that it says, "You must be humble to become great in the kingdom of heaven." And what is more humble than a microbe? What's bigger than a planet? Prodigious Divine Father Jehovah, Now I understand why the wise men on earth never found the key to the origin of our planet. They did not find the key because they never project themselves towards the small, towards the microscopic. They never study what was inside. They never imagined that the earth was growing as they themselves grew. That's right, son. The beginning of the earth was a microbe. I'll show you. Whoa, what a beautiful fire. I never saw anything like it. It's your divine solar mother Omega. My solar mother Omega? Thus I was divinely announced to you in my divine gospel, when my divine solar firstborn Christ said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. He wants to tell you the word that he came from the place on the verge of the earth, because Alpha is beginning in its origin and Omega is the final judgment. Two events that occurred under the envelope of the beginning. Alpha is angle and Omega is circle. Alpha is the right angle of the 90 degrees, a geometry which within the earth was born when it emerged from the divine womb of the divine solar mother Omega. Omega circle represents a divine final judgment. And since the circle is closed, this means that God's divine judgment is for everyone without exceptions. No one escapes, neither death nor microbes, and I will tell you, son, that this divine judgment will be so severe that human creature will go so far as to curse human life, because my firstborn son will not forget humans in a single second or lectures. Everything I'll tell you was warning for centuries to the world. This divine warning is in the divine parole that it says, and there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Others will tell you the iron government of the sons of God, and this severity corresponds to the generations of the strange world, not written in the kingdom of God, because the Son of God will look at those who violate the divine law of God as the strange begins. It is that the violations of the law of God, which the generations of the earth lived and knew, are now known in the kingdom of heaven. The Omega circle represents the divine solar mother Omega, and she represents the final unifications of all the concepts of the divine mother that were given in the test of light. Because every divine revelation that reaches a certain planet unifies what it was divided on the planet. Because what divides is not from God. What unifies is from God. Alpha and Omega represents human life in its beginning and end. I mean, son, human life with mortal flesh. This is in the test of light, because the world was told that no one was unique. That in addition to them, a new kingdom of genius children will come, who in their sensations as of God did not include the dead. They will be eternal flesh, because at a given instance there will be two worlds in one world. One of them will be the current one, which is already coming to an end, and is the world of the trap of light with flesh that rots. Another world will be that the genius creatures, that being the children, they will never grow old and they will not die. They will not be in the proof of light as the human is. They will belong to a planet paradise and not to a planet of tests as humanity is. What a life of divine knowledge, Father Jehovah. That's right, son, a light that had been promised to the world. I will tell you more about this future kingdom of the Charles Genius when I dictate the work entitled The Future World of the Charles Geniuses. So be Divine Father Jehovah, what are watching your observers in the solar television? I see, Divine Father, how the Alpha Omega sounds approach, and at the same time, some bright dots are launched. What is Divine Father Jehovah? What is it? What you are witnesses is the solar love conversation. What you see happens in the universe at every moment and infinity numbers. What a colossal Divine Father. What a colossal sounds, Divine Father. I feel that it sounds like makes me sleepy. That's how I see it, son. The numbers mean that your spiritual and physical everything recognizes by intuitive love. The place of the origin, the place where one is born again, so that the spirit can once again new a new life. Is that called reincarnation? It's the same, son, because the same love coming from God and is expressed at the same time in many psychologies and form, and that is the same love. And many do not believe in reincarnations. Divine Father Jehovah, that is right, son. Those who do not believe in being born again to know new perfections will remain with the existences they have, if they have the merit to keep it, because he who denies something with respect to God resists nothing from that something, and it passes in eternal respect the ideals of his children, and if enough to deny something, whatever it is, and the creature no longer sees that something. This is a problem for those who deny it, and it's not for those who do not deny it, because according to know how each person was thinking was the trap of light, so will their future be before God in the solar law of the conversation, solar law of the creation are fulfilled, just as human laws are fulfilled on earth, just as up in the infinity cosmos, solar law is created, and on earth, in the human law, and it was written, what is above is equal to what is below. There is a creation above in the suns and the worlds, and creation below to the earth. The bright dots that the living suns throw on each other are loving magnets of attractions. This corresponds to the attractions of God in humans. New sun has appeared. Are they other colors? That's right, son. Just as it was taught in my divine gospel, that no one was unique. There are not only yellow suns as humanity accustomed to seeing. There are as many colored suns in my creations as the human mind can imagine, and at the same time, there are many colored skies as the human mind and all the minds of the universe can imagine. This is how I see it as Divine Father Jehovah. I see the solar television made the colors variety. What a wonderful spectacle. If all humanity saw it, it's all the humanity saw it. Don't be impatient, son. That was written that every eye will see it. And I'll tell you, son, that when every human makes what it comes to sin, since you were a child, There will be no human creature that will not cry. An event occurs and the strength is limited that it has placed on God through his way of thinking through your form of faith. Because the Son of God will demand from the world such compliances with the divine laws of his Father in the test of light, that human beings will curse their own existences because in divine judgments of God, the molecule in the second at the most microscopic thing that the human mind can imagine will make the equivalence to an existence of light. The molecule's second judgment is scarce a word that it has fallen to sleep and corrupted, because distortion lead to the words of evidence and immediately the microscopy that it was a creature themselves. The majority were excited about the microscopic presence as you see son. The living sons approach as they searching for each other happens in the solar law. What happens among the humans, those are intentioned to an south by traveling distances as you see it. What it's about is equal to what's below. How close Divine Father Jehovah is this? They hug each other. Is the solar implosion? Implosion, Divine Father? Could you say that it's an atomic explosion? It looks like some, but it's not. What you see, it's an incredible source of two solar magnetisms transformed into one. This also happens among the human beings, and they correspond to the divine command that it says, you will become the flesh. That is a single marriage. What admirable Divine Father Jehovah. So many questions arise in my mind, faced with this sublime spectacle. That's how I see it, son. So you can ask your question. I would like to know, Divine Father, what time, or rather, in what time do these giant sons live? They live in selection time, which is the same time that the one lives in the kingdom of heaven. What a relationship that says Divine Father Jehovah between this celestial time and the time that we live on earth? Between both times, there is an abysmal difference because I will tell you that 1 second of heavenly time is equivalent to 1 early century, and all the planetary times of the universe are lovely things subordinated to the times of the kingdom of heaven, because from the kingdom of God everything comes element, and creatures made their own request to God in their place of the region. They did everything its ingredient, the infinity forms of breathing, and the recourse intellectual sign. No one ages because those who enjoy these times are not creatures who are on track for life. Right, Alpha and Omega. For more of this content, please feel free to visit our website at telepathicreading.com. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you enjoyed this program.